Hi, I'm Miriam, physiotherapist here at Fit for Life Physiotherapy, and today we're going to go through a short routine that is great for doing just before bed, or it can be used during the day when you want a little bit of a reset. I know that when I'm trying to wind down at the end of the day, I find it really hard to just focus on breathing and lying still. My mind is usually racing. Sometimes I am dealing with my legs feeling a little bit restless, and it's hard to sit still. So combining the breathing with some movement is a great way to help to focus the mind, and also just moves our body and gets our bodies relaxed and ready for bed. So let's get started. And before we do, I do have a couple props with me. I have a couple blankets, which you could use blankets or towels. I do have a couple blocks. None of these are necessary, but can be helpful to make things a little bit more comfortable. If you don't have blocks, you can use some books, or you could even just use a fairly thick cushion, something that is just going to allow the floor to be raised to you in some of these poses that we're doing. So let's get started, and just make your way down onto your back. So once you're lying down, we're going to just take a moment to just check in with your body and get rid of any tension that there might be. So you can lie with your legs out straight if you wish, or if you feel more comfortable having your knees bent, you can keep your knees bent, maybe even have your feet a little wider apart and just kind of let the knees fall in towards each other. And just take a bit of a scan of your body and notice whether there's any places where you're holding tension. You know, are your shoulders up to your ears? And if they are, just kind of let them go. Are your eyebrows furrowed together? And just relax that tension. Or is your jaw clenched? And let that go. Just taking that quick scan to notice where are you holding tension that you didn't actually realize. And then take note of your breath. And this is really important as we're starting to calm our bodies ready for sleep, or again, just if we need to sort of reset in the day, is that our breath is a very powerful way to calm our nervous system. And we want to really make sure that we're breathing through our diaphragm, through our lower rib cage, and that the breath isn't entirely just up in the upper chest. So if you take your hand to your chest, the other hand to the top of your belly, right at the base of your rib cage here, and just take a few breaths in and out. And as you breathe in through your nose, notice where you feel that expansion. And as you breathe out, just let everything go. And I want you to pay attention to which hand is moving more than the other. Are they moving the same? Does the top one move more, the bottom one move more? What's your natural breathing pattern? And if you find that you're tending to breathe more into this upper chest, try to send the breath a little bit lower down into the belly. The other thing that I'll sometimes cue is just bringing your hands to the outer part of your lower rib cage. And when you breathe in, think about breathing into the sides of the rib cage, so that you can feel the ribs expand to the sides and to the back, not just up here in the belly. And that just really helps to make sure that we're really using that diaphragm to help with our breath. So just try a few breaths here of focusing on trying to get a little bit more of a diaphragmatic breath. And this will be important through the rest of this practice to help to calm your body. So, keeping that in mind, let's get started. I'm going to have you bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides. And if you find that this is really uncomfortable to just let your legs be hanging in the air, this is where you can grab onto your block or your cushion or your blanket and just place that underneath your knees so that you've got something to rest on and it doesn't feel so uncomfortable, okay? So from here, you're going to take your right arm across your body, the left arm underneath, and wrap around so that you're grasping your left hand onto your forearm. It's a little bit pretzely. You'll feel a bit of a stretch through the upper back and the back of the shoulders. Now, if this is too big of a pretzely kind of position, just take your arms across your body as if you're giving yourself a really big hug. So your right arm is over top of the left. And just in this position, just continue to breathe. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through your mouth. I also want you to pay attention to trying to make that exhale a little longer than your inhale. So if your breath in is for a count of 4, for example, then make sure that your breath out is for a count of 5. And just hold this position for another breath or 2. Your arms and bring them out wide for a moment. And then bring them back across your body, and you're going to bring the other arm, the left arm across your body, your right arm behind and underneath your elbow, grasping your right arm onto your left elbow. Let your left forearm, let your left hand rest on your forehead. And again, if this is too much, you're just going to give yourself a really big hug. Just take a few breaths here, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more breath in. As you exhale, unravel your arms and bring them out wide so that you're in a T position, and then bring your knees back up together. Walk your feet wide apart so they're as wide as your mat. And we're just going to windshield wiper our knees from one side to the other. So as you inhale, let your knees both drop to the right hand side so they're moving separately from each other. And as you exhale, bring the knees back up. And as you inhale, let your knees fall to the left. And as you exhale, bring them back up. And just moving back and forth at your own pace. Not trying to rush the movement. And certainly not trying to rush your breath. The next time your knees land to the right, just pause here. You can feel a little bit more of a stretch on the front of your left hip, and maybe even right into your inner or your upper thigh. If it feels okay, take your right foot and bring it on top of the left, just giving yourself a little bit more of a stretch here. Just focusing on that nice, easy, steady breath. one more breath in. And then as you exhale, bring that foot back down and bring your knees back up to the center and drop them down to the other side. And either just pause in this position for a few breaths, or if it feels okay, take the left knee on top of the right knee, just giving yourself a little bit more of a stretch. Again, focusing on that nice, steady, easy breath, making sure that you're never holding your breath. One more breath in, and then as you exhale, bring that knee down, or that foot down, and bring your knees back up to the center. Bring your arms in, walk your feet together, and then from here, roll over onto one side and continue to roll right onto your belly. And if you need to sort of take a moment and bring your head down to the ground and let yourself settle in, then please do that. And then bring yourself up to your elbows. So from this position, we're coming into what we call Sphinx pose. Some people may refer this to as a baby cobra as well. And in this position, making sure that you're not sinking your shoulders down to the ground, but really push through your forearm and feel the shoulder blades come apart. Don't try to strain your neck to lift your head up towards the wall in front of you. Just look towards the end of your mat here. And just pause here for a few breaths. Again, that nice, slow and steady breath. Exhale, lower yourself down to the ground, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and as you inhale, press into your hands to come up as high as what feels comfortable, and then lower yourself back down. And you may not get your arms as straight as mine, you may just get halfway, whatever feels comfortable for you. Inhale, press your arms up as high as what's comfortable, extending through the back, through the front of the belly. One more time. Inhale, press through your hands, lifting up. And then let yourself lower back down. And then from here, tuck your toes under, push through your hands, come up onto your hands and knees. And this is where you may want to have the blanket for a little bit of extra cushion underneath your knees, if you wish. Maybe you've got a nice thick mat. Bring your toes together and bring your knees fairly wide apart, and bring your buttocks back towards your heels, coming into a child's pose. And I find having my knees far apart just allows for a little bit more movement through my hips and allows me to reach my arms forward and lower myself down. Now, if you find that as you're bending forward and coming into this child's pose that your head's a really long way from the floor, this is where your block or a cushion or the other folded blanket can come in handy, so that you can rest your forehead on the block or on the cushion. And then just pause here. Take a few breaths in and out. And as you breathe in, really focusing on trying to expand the ribs to the back body. So that as you inhale, you can really feel that opening through the back of the rib cage. And as you exhale, just let everything relax down. One more breath in this position. And then you might need to move your cushion or your block out of the way. You're going to walk your hands over towards the right-hand side of your mat so that both hands are off the mat, really reaching your hips back towards your heels, lowering your chest down, feeling a nice stretch through this side body here. And again, focusing on that nice, steady, slow, easy breath. And noticing that you can feel a little bit more of a stretch through the side body. Particularly as you take that big breath in. And as you exhale, let everything soften down. Back towards the center. And just pause here for a breath and notice whether you feel a difference from one side to the other. And then walk your hands over towards the right-hand side of your body. Again, really reaching your hips back towards your heels, feeling that nice long stretch through the right side of your body. One more breath in. And as you exhale, walk your hands back to the center and just easing back into this child's pose. You may find that it's a little easier here now. And then on your next exhale, walk yourself up to your hands and knees. Bring your knees back together so that knees are underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. If it feels good to just straighten one leg out and press your heel back to kind of get your leg out of that bent position, and then do the same thing on the other side. And then maybe it also feels good to just move your body a little bit. You might just want to sway a little bit back and forth. You may want to do a little bit of a cat-cow. And in a cat-cow, you're going to tilt your tailbone up towards the ceiling, lower your belly down, and lift your chest and your head up so that you're getting a little bit of an arch through your back. And then as you exhale, tilt your tailbone under and rounding through lower back, middle back, upper back, and dropping your head down. As you inhale, tilt your tailbone back up, lower your belly, lift your chest, lift your head, feeling that nice arch through the spine. And on your next exhale, tilt your tailbone under, rounding through lower back, middle back, upper back, dropping your head down. And then as you inhale, come back to a neutral position. And then from here, coming into a bit of a lunge. So you're going to bring one foot forward. You might want to wiggle that foot a little bit further back. And lift your chest up. And this is where you may want your block here. So if you take the block to the inside of your foot here, and bringing your hands down to the block and let your hip really drop forward so that we're getting into a really nice stretch through the front of the hip. You may find that you can go all the way down to the ground, but if you're down on the ground and you're a little bit rounded through your spine, this is where the block is really nice to keep that spine nice and long. If you find that this feels like too much of a stretch here, this is where taking your other blanket or your cushion and fold it right in front of your thigh so that when you're coming forward, you're getting a little bit of support on that thigh and it may not feel quite so strong. And allow you to stay here for a few breaths and making sure that you can stay in this position without holding your breath. So we can really focus on a nice slow and steady breath. More breath in, and as you exhale, walk yourself back, bringing that right knee back down to the ground. Maybe sliding your cushion over to the other side and stepping your other foot forward. Lunge forward. Lift your chest up, lower your hips forward, and bring your hands down to the floor or to that block. And as you're lowering your hips forward, really think about lifting your chest upwards. And allow yourself to just relax and let go in this pose. If you feel like you're really guarding or holding tension, find a way to give yourself a little more support here. Perhaps you need to move a little bit out of the pose. You want to be able to continue to breathe calmly and not hold your breath. Nice, slow, steady breath in. And exhale, long exhale as you let go, let everything relax. One more breath in, and then as you exhale, walk your foot back, move your props out of the way, and make your way back down onto your back. And once you're here, allow your legs to go all the way out straight. Let your arms rest by your side, palms facing up towards the ceiling. And just going through that scan of your body and noticing whether it feels any different than when you first lay down. Focus on that nice big breath through the belly and the rib cage and notice whether it feels a little bit easier. Stay here as long as you like. But otherwise, when you're ready, bend your knees, rolling over to one side, and make your way up into sitting. So hopefully that's something to help calm you, release some tension through the body. We did a little bit of movement through the shoulders, through the back, through the hips. We'll see you again another time.